Thanks for joining us. On the show with me is a young lady who's the founder of one of the most exciting gospel choirs in London.
Now you be the light, now you be the star, the ancient of days, as old as you are.
And Omideyi, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Now, I know you are a barrister by trade. You gave up the legal life for music, and I really want to talk about that. But let's talk about Jesus. At what stage in your life did faith become a personal thing for you?
My family are a family of believers. My parents were and are pastors, so I've grown up in that environment. Mm-hmm. But it became a personal thing for me around my teens, and that's when I really began to delve more into who Jesus really is to me. But even then, beyond that, it's been a journey just through my 20s, 30s.
Now, you talk about a journey. I know a key point in your journey was, and a strong influence in your life is your father.
Yeah.
And at some stage, he passes away.
Yeah.
Tell us about that, the situation around that and the impact that had on you and your faith.
A profound impact, just to put it shortly. In 2011, he became very ill, very quickly, and passed away within 3 months. And so that really shook my entire foundation and made me think quite seriously about my life. I just thought he was invincible and he'd be around forever. And of course, when that didn't happen, I then began to think, well, what are you doing? Are you really doing everything that you should and could be doing to further God's purpose in your life? And if you're doing that, are you doing it to the best of your ability? The answer on both fronts was no. So I decided to take the singing seriously, take the choir seriously, because we were just a church choir at the time. We still are, but we were just singing in church. And I said, well, we need to get out and make sure that we move and sing outside of the four walls. And it all took off from there. So his passing had the most profound effect on my life.
So the tragedy didn't make you, it didn't turn you the other way, because for lots of people, it would make them question their faith, because of course, you and the family would have been praying for his recovery.
Yeah.
And then when he doesn't recover, most people like, God, are you really real? But for you, the opposite was true.
Yeah, that's a really interesting question, because it was a nuanced response. So there were parts of my journey at that time that had a lot of questions. But I suppose I've grown up in a sense that I don't make big decisions under high emotion. So I thought to myself that I would wait until that has passed, no matter how long. And it took a couple of years for that kind of emotion and those questions to pass. But in the meantime, I would do what I should be doing. So I looked inward first. I said, "Good Lord, I'm not sure what you were doing here, but I want to look at what I have to do. Have I taken you as seriously as I should? Have I done everything that I could be doing? Is my relationship with you as strong as it could be, so that I'm hearing you clearly about what's going to happen?" Mm-hmm. Until I'm sure that I can really say yes to those questions, I need to do the work on myself first. And then I need to know from you what you were doing. And so through that journey, things became clearer.
So where was music in all of this? And I hear you say we were a church choir.
Yeah.
So was music a constant in your life from young?
Yeah. I mean, music has been one of my great loves for my entire life. Since my early teens, I've been pretty much in love with music and what comes with it. Coming from a Nigerian family, I was encouraged in...
I'm not sure what that's
you
supposed to mean.
You don't know what I mean by that?
I don't know what you mean. Explain yourself.
What I mean by that is that there are some professions that are outlined very clearly that we are guided into taking or encouraged, shall we say.
Very strongly.
Very strongly.
You will become a lawyer.
Correct.
You will become a doctor.
Correct.
And we need an engineer in the family.
And an accountant.
And an accountant.
And that's it. We don't need anything else.
Full stop.
Yeah, that's it. So I fell into one of those categories and the lawyer was the one for me. But, I had always enjoyed the music and thought to myself, well, one of these might win out. The lawyer won for a very, very long time. But by the time I realised that life is fleeting and that tomorrow is not promised, I had to look inside and say, well, what is it that you really want to achieve? What is it that you you really want to do. And Dad had always been saying to me, you guys are messing around with this choir. You know, I go out a lot, I hear a lot of people sing, you should be singing. I always thought to myself, we need more time, we're not good enough, we can't do it, yada, yada.
Of course, you were writing as well, because I mean, you got loads of songs out. One of which we play endlessly on radio.
The only
one.
Yeah.
Because it's so long.
Yeah.
But all this time you were writing,
Yeah.
but you didn't feel it was good enough for
Correct.
the world.
That's right, I didn't. And he always used to have that argument with me. And I used to say, well, Daddy, what do you know? Pretty much.
As we do with our parents.
As we do with our parents.
You're just old.
Correct. So when he passed away, I thought, look, let's just get on with it. Whatever happens, whatever standard, however we are going to do something within 12 months of his passing. And so we did. And we went out. We had our first outside ministration at a church in Wood Green. And from there, we just got requests. And it just blew up and mushroomed. So he was right. He
was right all along. You know, I would love to hear more about what happened thereafter, because you then had a decision to make.
Yes.
Law, music, and one obviously. That's why we're here.
Why we're here.
But I'm going to do that in a little while. Stay with us on Turning Point International. My guest has such a story to tell. If you're struggling with what to do next, and two things are pulling at you, and your passion is wanting to give up, her testimony will really encourage you. Coming up.